value of setting the cultural stage for people to engage with information, engage with a certain perspective, engage with a certain worldview in order to establish what is the most healthy trajectory.
Are you
What
beloved?
is the thing that
Go
produces
to
life
goodgodfather.com.
that overcomes and
Sign up on the email
overwhelms
list.
dead?
I renounce Satan and his works, and his pomps, and his service, and his angels, and his inventions, and all things that belong to him or that are subject to him. I renounce Satan and his works, and his pomps, and his service, and his angels, and his inventions, and all things that belong to him or that are subject to him. I renounce Satan and his works, and his pomps, and his service, and his angels, and his inventions, and all things that belong to him or that are subject to him. Confusing order with destiny, discouraging healthy thinking, while the mind is at ease, the soul is distressed. The mother sets her hand before the soul. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to a Good Godfather stream. My name's Swan, and we are streaming live across YouTube, Twitch, D-Live, and Odysee. Today is February 7th, 2023. And it's been a heck of a week. We've been trying to stick to a regular schedule around here in order to just be consistent. And last week we covered a lot of things. We pretty much went over what we have going on over at Backed.By. That's a platform for people who like Patreon but don't like the fees. We also went over a number of other things, but today we're going to go ahead and get started as part of our regular programming. We're just going to let's get familiar with our day. We want to get familiar with our day. So what do we have here today? We have, let's see. All right. We have the moon at 98%. If you didn't see it last night, it was
brilliantly bright. Super duper bright. If you missed it, sorry. Sorry if you missed it, sorry. It was really pretty. February 7th, in the year of our Lord 2022, we have a waning gibbous illumination 97% moon as of right now during this live stream. And that is in the biblical calendar month of Shavat, the 15th we're looking at here today. We're in the middle of the 15th day. And on the liturgical calendar, it is here. We're here at the 3rd hour in the Orthodox Horologion. 3rd hour. This is the 35th week after Pentecost. And we are commemorating today Saint Parthenios, Bishop of Lampascos. Let's see here. And here we have Saint Parthenios, Bishop of Lampascus, on the Hellespont. Okay? So what we I covered this last week. I'm gonna try going forward not to have to like re-explain a lot of things over and over again. But so the base concept of what we're doing here today is outlining the patterns that there are in nature and in history, and the people whose memories we have retained here that we want to learn from the wisdom of the ages, in order to become our most whole, perfect selves that we possibly can, and doing the most that we possibly can with our lives, with the minds that we have. We're given quite a bounty of blessing, and we want to utilize as much of that blessing as we possibly can, so far as we're aware and capable of doing so. So Saint Parthenius, Bishop of Lampascus, was a native of the city of Melitopolis. Let me just check the sound real quick, make sure I've got decent audio going on here. Pascus was a native of the we're good. In northwestern Asia Minor, where his father Christopher served as deacon. The youth did not receive adequate schooling, but he learned the Holy Scripture by attending church services. He had a good heart and distributed to the poor the money he earned working as a fisherman. Filled with the grace of God, St. Parthenius, from age 18, healed the sick in the name of Christ, cast out demons, and worked other miracles. See, this is something that's like an ongoing thing. The record of these miracles and the miraculous and the working of wonders. And I mean, this second week in a row, last week we had a wonder worker, this week we had this wonder worker. Learning of the young man's virtuous life. So, like, the point being that the story is often enough and common enough that you have to say to yourself, maybe this isn't just a bunch of stories. Maybe this is something that's actually happened and capable of happening still to this day. I'd like to think so. I'm a little bit of an optimist like that. Let's see. Learning of the young man's virtuous life, Bishop Philetus of Melitopolis educated him and ordained him as presbyter. In 325, during the reign of Constantine the Great, just a year after the Council of Nicaea, Archbishop Achilles of Cyzicus, I guess it'd be Cyzicus, made him bishop of the city of Lampascus. That's in Asia Minor. In the city were many pagans, and the saint fervently began to spread the faith in Christ, confirming it through many miracles and by healing the sick. The people began to turn from their pagan beliefs, and the saint went to Emperor Constantine the Great, seeking permission to tear down the pagan temple and build a Christian church in its place. The emperor received the saint with honor, gave him a decree authorizing the destruction of the pagan temple, and provided him with the means to build a church. Okay, so that's an interesting little bit of history. It'd be interesting to take a look at exactly where this was at and see exactly where this is at now, the state that it's at now. Okay, and the emperor received the saint with honor, gave him a decree authorizing the destruction of the pagan temple, and provided him with the means to build a church. Returning to Lampascus, Saint Parthenius had the pagan temple torn down and built a beautiful church of God in the city. In one of the raised temples, he found a large marble slab, which he thought would be very suitable as an altar. The saint ordered work to begin on the stone and to move it to the church. Through the malice of the devil, became enraged at the removal of the stone from the pagan temple. The cart overturned and killed the driver, Eutychian. Saint Parthenius restored him to life by his prayer and shamed the devil, who wanted to frustrate the work of God. The saint was so kind that he refused healing to no one who came to him or who chanced to meet him by the wayside, whether he suffered from bodily illnesses or was tormented by unclean spirits. People even stopped going to physicians, since Saint Parthenius healed all the sick for free. Oh, wow. Something we could use today, huh? Pandemics and everything. With the great power of the name of Christ, the saint banished the host of demons from people, from their homes, and from the waters of the sea. That's interesting. Once the saint prepared to cast out a devil from a certain man who had been possessed by it since childhood, the demon began to implore the saint not to do so. Saint Parthenius promised to give the evil spirit another man in whom he could dwell. The demon asked, "Who is that man?" The saint replied, "You may dwell in me if you wish." Oh my gosh. This saint invited a demon to possess him. The demon fled as if stung by fire, crying out, "If the mere sight of you is a torment to me, how can I dare enter into you?" That's pretty cool. I don't know, that sounds pretty cool. They ought to make comic book movies out of this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I've been thinking about that recently, how much baloney that they make in the movies, but they're not willing to make a movie about something that's like a part of actual history. That's so much cooler. Superman. Ooh. Don't get me wrong, I was a big fan of that stuff when I was a kid. Still am a Batman fan. The demon fled as okay. An unclean spirit cast out of the house where the imperial purple dye was prepared. This is filled with some pretty great history. Said that a divine because that purple dye, the imperial purple dye, is something that if you haven't heard about, yeah, I'll really look into it. Said that a divine fire was pursuing him with the fire of Gehenna. Having shown people the great power of faith in Christ, the saint converted a multitude of idol worshippers to the true God. Saint Parthenius died peacefully and was solemnly buried beside the cathedral church of Lampascus, which he built. Let's look this one up. Cathedral Church, Lampascus. Let's go. What do we have there? Really? Lampsacus. Okay. Close this one. Close this one. I don't have much luck there, am I? find out about it. Okay, here we go. It was an ancient Greek city, strategically located on the eastern side of the Hellespont in the northern Troad. An inhabitant of Lampsacus was called Lampsakin. The name has been transmitted in the nearby modern town of Lampsaki, originally known as Pityusa. Let's read this Christian history. According to legend, Saint Tryphon was buried at Lampsacus after his martyrdom at Nicaea in 250. So this is 100 years, or 75 years before the saint we're dealing with here today. The first bishop in Lampsacus was Parthenius. Parthenius is Saint Parthenius under Constantine I. Part of the Hellespont. Lampsacus was subject to the metropolis of Cyzicus in 364. The see was occupied by Marcian. No way. And in the same year, a council of bishops was held at Lampsacus. Marcian was summoned to the first council of Constantinople in 381, but refused to retract his adherence of the Macedonian Christian sect. Other known bishops of Lampsacus were Daniel, who assisted at the Council of Chalcedon, Harmonius, Constantine, who attended the Third Council of Constantinople, John at Nicaea, Saint Euschemon, a correspondent of Saint Theodore of the Studite, and a confessor of the faith for the veneration of images under Theophilus. The see of Lampsacus is mentioned in the Notitia Episcopatum until about the 12th or 13th century. The famous Lampsacus treasure, now at the British Museum, dates from this period. The bishopric remains a vacant and titular see. Vacant and titular. Former that no longer functions, sometimes called a dead diocese. The ordinary or hierarch of such a see may be styled a titular metropolitan, highest rank titular bishop, or titular archbishop or bishop, which normally goes by the status conferred to on the titular. Okay, whatever. Right on. So that place looks like it's gone. We can't see it. I mean, maybe we could take a look at like the ruins or something like that. All right, so the Troparion and Ketakion. So we have Saint Parthenius, Bishop of Lampsacus on the Hellespont, Troparion, and Ketakion. Says, in truth, you were revealed to your flock as a rule of faith, an image of humility and a teacher of abstinence. Your humility exalted you, your poverty enriched you. Hierarch Father Parthenius, entreat Christ our God, that our souls may be saved. You received divine grace to work miracles. Wise and holy God-bearing wonder worker Parthenius, you cleansed the passions of all the faithful and drove out evil spirits. Therefore we praise you as a great initiate of the grace of God. Okay. We also have Luke the Younger, our venerable and God-bearing father Luke the Younger, also Luke of Styris, Luke of Styrion. We have Luke the New of Mount Styrion, Osios Lucas Osteriotis, Luke the Wonderworker, Luke Thaumaturgus, or Luke of Hellas. Okay, so here we have 9th century, 896 to 953, was a Byzantine saint of the 10th century who founded the monastery of Osius Lucas. Venerable Luke, on the slopes of the great and godly Mount of Helicon, between Delphi and Livadia, near the coast of the Gulf of Corinth in Boeotia, Greece. I'm sure that's probably how it's said. I doubt. I don't know. He was also one of the earliest saints to be seen levitating in prayer. So now we have levitation. I love this stuff, dude. Who knows what you're going to see on the Good Godfather channel? Who knows what you'll see? Who knows what this camera will capture? But we got to capture it. The principal source for Luke's life is an anonymous life written by a monk of Hosios Lucas, who had been one of Luke's followers. According to some, he reposed in the year 946, according to others, in 953. St. Luke's feast day is celebrated on February 7th, today. St. Luke, pray for us, with the translation of his relics celebrated on May 3rd. Quite a life here. There's a lot here to this guy. Let's go ahead and read. We'll read it. Go ahead. St. Luke was born in 896 to pious parents who came to Aegina, but were forced to settle on the Greek mainland due to Saracen raids. Luke, well, I guess it would be Saracen. Luke was the third of the 7 children of Stephen and Euphrosyne, whatever. From his earliest years, he showed a desire for a life of ascesis and contemplation, usually only found in seasoned elders. He abstained from all flesh, cheese, eggs, and delicacies, drank only water, and kept a total fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. While herding cattle and tilling the family fields, he would often give away his food and even his clothing to the poor, returning home naked. He once gave away almost all the seed which was needed for planting in the fields. The Lord rewarded him for his charity, and the harvest gathered was greater than ever before. When his father died, he abandoned farm work to devote himself entirely to prayer, making such progress that he was often witnessed by his mother, lifted from the ground while praying. Well, she know that's his mom. Moms are going to see their boys that way, you know. My boy, he floats off the ground when he's praying. I swear I saw it. As a child, Luke, not saying she's a liar, but that is his mom. As a child, Luke tried twice to leave home to seek a solitary life of prayer. The first time he attempted to withdraw to Thessaly, but was captured by soldiers lying in wait for escaped slaves and was returned home. The second time he had more success, meeting 2 monks journeying from Rome to Jerusalem, who took him to a monastery in Athens, where he received the small habit. Who are those 2 monks? They seem dope, you know? Degrees of Eastern Orthodox monasticism. At this point, I don't know what any of the degrees are. At this point, he was only 14 years old in 910 AD, and Luke's mother was very concerned for him, prayed for her son's return. After seeing his mother in a dream tearfully calling for her son, the abbot sent him home. He returned home for 4 months, and then, with his mother's blessing, he set out again upon the monastic life, going to a solitary place on a mountain called Ioannou, or Ioannitsa. So that name is clearly like Greek, like John. Johanan, Ioannou. Here there was a church dedicated to the holy unmercenaries Cosmas and Damian, where he lived an ascetical life in constant prayer and fasting for 7 years. The life records with suspicious cemetery that during this time Luke received the W. There you go. I sound like Joe Biden. Repeat the line. great habit from two monks traveling from Jerusalem to Rome, presumably the same two from whom he had received the small habit from on their outward journey. So, same two monks. Who are these guys? After this, St. Luke redoubled his ascetic efforts, for which the Lord granted him the gift of foresight. Luke's fame spread and a number of miracles are ascribed to him during this period, such as revealing to two brothers the location of their dead father's buried treasure. Numerous proofs of Luke's holiness were also given, such as sleeping in a trench to remind himself of death, or being visited in a dream by an angel who let a hook down Luke's mouth and drew out a certain fleshly member therefrom, freeing him from the temptations of the flesh. Nice. After 7 years on Ioannino, the saint moved to Corinth because of an invasion of the Bulgarian Emperor Simeon, which Luke had predicted. Hearing about a certain stylite at Gimenus, near Jimenez, Corinth, he went to see him and remained for 10 years to serve the ascetic with humility and obedience. Afterwards, circa 927, the saint returned again to Mount Ioannino to build his own community and again pursue asceticism. Often he would be forced to move by the number of visitors who learned of his holiness and came to him for prayer or a word of counsel or prophecy, no matter how secretly he tried to live. Luke drew so many followers that he found the distractions unbearable and decided to retreat further into the wilderness with the blessing of Elder Theophylactus. 3 years later, however, Luke was displaced again, this time by a Magyar invasion. Luke retreated with the local villagers to a nearby island of Empolon. Once there, Luke found the desert island to be a suitable place to pursue his solitary ascetic life and stayed for 3 years, enduring terrible thirst. His sister would occasionally bring him some bread, but he gave much of it away to the needy or to passing sailors. Eventually, Luke's disciples persuaded him to leave, and he returned to the mainland and settled for the remainder of his life in the far more amenable environment of the present Hosios Lucas, where he founded his hermitage, 946, in the area of Styris, which may be a corruption of Soterion or place of healing. Here brethren gathered to the elder, and a small monastery grew up, the church of which was dedicated to the great martyr Barbara. Interesting. Dwelling in the monastery, the saint performed many miracles, healing sicknesses of soul and of body. See, we learned so much about, the main 12 and like all the big heavy hitters. It's so good to hear these different stories. I mean, this was such a main part of Western history in Europe, developing in the Middle Ages. This is what they taught. These are the stories they talked about. These are the stories they shared and they preserved. And it's just so sad that in America, I mean, like, that's one thing, Protestantism, and I'm not somebody who knocks Protestantism as some kind of evil thing. Like, I'm not a papist at all by any means. I'm really not into the Roman thing. Like, I love the tradition, particularly in the East, but the East is just as Roman as the West, and more, in a lot of cases, more so, because it's really important to understand the political influences there. But I also really appreciate a lot of the elements of when it comes to government, when it comes to the state, and how to govern a body of people. But anyway, so in his death, Saint Luke fell ill in his 7th year at Styrian. Foreseeing his end, the saint confined himself in a cell and for 3 months prepared for his departure. When asked where he was to be buried, the monk replied, "Throw my body into a ravine to be eaten by wild beasts." That's so metal, dude. These guys are metal. When the brethren begged him to change these instructions, he commanded them to bury his body on the spot where he lay. Embracing his disciples, he asked them to pray for him, prophesying that the place where he died would someday be the site of a great church and monastery. Then, raising his eyes to heaven, he said, "Into thy hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit." Yuck. Yuck. And reposed in peace and joy. Luke fell asleep in the Lord on February 7th, 953. Myrrh flowed from his holy relics, and many healings occurred. His tomb exuded a fragrant oil, which was collected and burned in a lamp, and many miracles and healings were wrought at the tomb. The rumor that his relic worked miracles brought great numbers of believers to the monastery to be healed, and the original buildings gave way to more monumental structures. As the saint had predicted, 2 churches and a monastery were built there, and the monastery of Hosius Lucas became a great place of pilgrimage, as it remains to this day. We'll read those in a minute. I want to see this. Okay. It's the largest of 3 monasteries surviving from the Middle Byzantine period in Greece. It differs from the Daphnion and Neamoni in that it is dedicated to a single military saint. St. Luke's prophecy about the reconquest of Crete is commemorated by the image of Joshua on the exterior wall of Panagia Church. Joshua was considered a model warrior of the faith, whose help was especially effective in the wars waged against the Arabs. Cool. Let's take a look at the monastery of Hosius. There it is. That is a 10th century monastery right there. Holy smokes, that's cool. I mean, this is in really decent shape. Marcoy. I think it says. I don't know what that says. I'm not gonna pretend to know what that says. I think it says Opak Marcoy. I feel like it says ORME. Oh wait, I think that might be a theta, actually. So it's like Thario Pa. I think it's. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Eventually, I'll learn how to read all this stuff. That's a D. I think it's a D. Dionykia. Zachariah. I think it's a P. I think it's R. So hella dope. Okay. So, St. Luke of Mount Styrian, Tone 1. Let us firmly honor Luke the God-bearer with hymns and chants, the glory of the faithful, the boast of the righteous, bright light of Styrian and its true inhabitants. He brings near to Christ those who cry out in faith. Glory to him who has strengthened thee. Glory to him who has crowned thee. Glory to him who through thee works healings for all. God, in ineffable judgment, chose 3 before thou wast fashioned according to his good pleasure. He took thee from thy mother's womb. He sanctified thee as his servant. As the lover of mankind, he guided thee to himself, before whom thou dost now stand rejoicing, O Luke. Dope. And we have the American Orthodox Church liturgical calendar year. And who are we looking for here? Okay. So I must have picked the wrong thing there because we got St. Paul the Hermit. Let's just go to the first one. I don't want to do Wikipedia. Because look, this is Paul of Thebes. They don't want to say St. Paul the Hermit. They want to say Paul of Thebes. But maybe it's got the Orthodox wiki on here. Sure. St. Paul of Thebes, Church's first known hermit, honored January 15th. Let's do it. On January 15th, the Catholic Church remembers St. Paul of Thebes, whose life of solitude and penance gave inspiration to the monastic movement during its early years. Surviving the Egyptian desert on a small amount of daily food, St. Paul the Hermit lived in close communion with God. Before the end of his life, at age 113, he met with St. Anthony the Great, who led an early community of monks elsewhere in the Egyptian desert. Born in approximately 230, the future hermit Paul received a solid religious and secular education. So he's well balanced. But lost his parents at age 15. During the year 250, the Roman Emperor Decius carried out a notorious persecution of the church, executing clergy and forcing laypersons to prove their loyalty by worshiping idols. The state used torture as well as the threat of death to coerce believers into making pagan sacrifices. That's something I'm probably definitely going to want to cover eventually, which is the issue with sacrifices, with religion, with ritual, how the magic works, and why it's such a thing for these powers to hang on to. Like, people would understand the spiritual war when they understand the practical element that goes into why they're doing, like, what happens. You got to think, like, practically and pragmatically about, like, how commerce is involved, how economy is involved, how business is involved, power, influence, prestige, all these kinds of things. Paul went into hiding during the Decian persecution, but became aware of a family member's plan to betray him to the authorities. The young man retreated to a remote desert location where he discovered a large abandoned cave that had once been used as a facility for making counterfeit coins. He found that he could survive on water from a spring and the fruit of a tree that grew nearby. Forced into the wilderness by circumstance, Paul found he loved the life of prayer and simplicity that it made possible. Thus, he never returned to the outside world, even though he lived well into the era of the church's legalization and acceptance by the Roman Empire. Which would be another 100 years, 75 years. Later on, this way of life inspired Catholics who sought a deeper relationship with God through spiritual discipline and isolation from the outside world. One of these faithful was Anthony of Egypt, born in the vicinity of Cairo around 251, who also lived to an old age after deciding during his youth to live in the desert out of devotion to God. Paul of Thebes is known to posterity because Anthony, around the year 342, was told in a dream about the elder hermit's existence and went to find him. A similar knowledge about Anthony had been mysteriously given to the earlier hermit. Thus, when he appeared to Paul's cave, they greeted each other by name, though they had never met. Out of contact with the Roman Empire for almost a century, Paul asked about its condition and whether paganism was still practiced. He told Anthony how for the last 60 years a bird had brought him a ration of bread each day, a mode of subsistence also granted to the Old Testament prophet Elijah. After 113 years, most of them spent in solitary devotion, Paul understood that he was nearing the end of his earthly life. He asked Anthony to return to his own hermitage and bring back a cloak that had been given to the younger monk by the bishop St. Athanasius. That heroically orthodox bishop had not yet been born when Paul first fled to the desert, and Anthony had never mentioned him or the cloak in question. Amazed, Anthony paid reverence to Paul and set out to fulfill his request. Weird. During the return trip, Anthony was shown a vision of St. Paul of Thebes' soul glorified and ascending toward heaven. On returning to the first hermit's cave, he venerated the body of its inhabitant, wrapped him in Athanasius' cloak, and carried him outdoors. St. Jerome, in his Life of St. Paul the First Hermit, attests that 2 lions arrived, demonstrated their reverence, and dug a grave for the saint. Having given him Athanasius' cloak, St. Anthony took back to his hermitage the garment which St. Paul of Thebes had woven for himself from palm leaves. Anthony passed on the account of his journey in the saint's life to his own growing group of monastic disciples, and it was written down by St. Jerome around the year 375, approximately 33 years after the death of the first hermit. Venerated on the same day by Roman Catholics, Eastern Catholics, and Eastern Orthodox Christians, St. Paul of Thebes is also the namesake of the Catholic monastic order, the Order of St. Paul the First Hermit, founded in Hungary in the 13th century and still in operation. Okay, but so let's... Wait a second. So we're not talking about the same guy. We're looking for St. All. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Oh, but that's on that other calendar. Let's just read the Kentakion. Let's see if we're like learning about the right guy. Thou didst sanctify our capital with thy blood, O passion bearer owl. Yeah, okay. Different person. This is a different person. It's great to learn about St. Paul the Hermit, but let's just look up St. Paul on its own and see what we get. Yeah, here we go. Must be this fool, because this is February 7th. Bishop and Martyr of London. Died circa 303. St. Jerome's Martyrology lists Augulus as a bishop. Others describe him as a martyr put to death in London under Diocletian. French writers normally identify him with St. All of Normandy, Benedictines. Troparion of St. All. Having lighted the candle of faith in London, O glorious martyr All, thy radiance was a challenge to the godless Diocletian who caused the flame of thy life to be extinguished. Pray, O martyr, that the flame of our faith may burn so brightly that through our constancy we may be found worthy of the mercy of Christ our God. Thou didst sanctify our capital with thy blood, O passion bearer all, defending the true faith, which was more precious to thee than life itself. We honor thee, we hymn thee, and we praise thy name, rejoicing in thy glorious memory. So that would be this person. Very little. Very little. Yeah, so martyr listed by St. Jerome as bishop. He's also described as martyr of London, England by some scholars. Still others identify him as St. All of Normandy. So let's look up of Normandy. And that's all there is. It's kind of disappointing to find so little. Oh, here's a little more. Saint Augulus. His name occurs with the title of bishop in all the manuscript copies of the ancient Western martyrology, which bears the name of Saint Jerome, that of the Abbey of Esternock, which is very old, and several others style him martyr. He probably received that crown soon after Saint Alban. All martyrologies place him in Britain and at Augusta, which name was given to London as Marcellinus mentions never to York, for which hen skinless would have to be taken in this place because it was at that time the capital of Britain. In the ancient copy of Bede's Martyrology, Diabetes, which was used at St. Agnès at Orleans, he is called St. Augustus, and some others St. Augurius. The French call him St. All. Chatelain thinks him to be the same saint who is famous in some parts of Normandy under the name of Saint Uy. Okay. That kind of covers it for our calendar for today. Now we can get to some of the other things I have in mind. I kind of want to go back to talking a bit about the crypto issue, because I want to just kind of give people a platform to stand on when it comes to this. So if you didn't already know, the inflation is out of control in the United States, but it's not just out of control in the United States, it's out of control all over the world. And that is largely due to the way the central banking, if you haven't heard that term before, the internet use it. Central banking, that is the centralized system of monetary value and exchange trade that is managed by a centralized community of corporations that control the printing of money, and which is how inflation is regulated. And in the United States, it's about quote unquote 8%, which is actually probably not a figure that's very accurate, if we're being honest. if we're being real. If we're being real here, it's probably not the right number. The right number is probably somewhere in the double digits. Some say 11, some say as high as 20. That being the case, what that means is that your dollar value is shrinking every single day. The dollar, not only is the dollar value shrinking, but the actual wage that you're earning is $7,400 less than it was a year ago. You are $7,400 poorer today than you were a year ago. And so if you're not thinking about what your options are, it's not likely that we're going to get out of this without there being some kind of reaction to the system that's going to play itself out in the value of the currency. So that has people looking at crypto. And there's a lot of debate about crypto. There's a lot of hesitancy about crypto. There's a lot of concern about crypto. There's a lot of argument about crypto. There's a lot of scams surrounding crypto, as you know, with Sam Bankman-Fried and his whole scam of basically the largest Ponzi scheme of all time, where he's selling FTX, but he's not making any FTX. There's no FTX there. You're buying something that doesn't exist at all. A lot of that has a lot of people saying, oh, it's because the cryptocurrency is not controlled. We gotta have controls on this crypto. Well, that's one side of the argument. Well, my position in reaction to a lot of those sentiments is in fact that the crypto being deregulated is actually not the problem. Where the problem actually lies when it comes to folks like Sam Bankman-Fried, scam, bankrupt, fraud, as Tucker Carlson over there has coined now, is that I think where things really stand with that guy is that he was in fact a plant, and he was a plant to gin up concern about regulations and get government entities involved. When you look at all that government partisans that he was involved in funding and their positions on these issues, you'll find that they're all cozy. They all kind of want this, oh, we better get regulation. I'm saying like, whoa, not so fast. Maybe, just maybe, Sam Bankman-Fried's fraud case is part of an operation to get people to regulate the currency, to regulate the market. And yes, everyone's concerned about scams, but it's not all a scam. And you're not currently receiving enough data. Oh, okay. Sorry, YouTube. I don't know what else you need. Your stream and health is excellent. Okay, thanks, YouTube. Anyway, the scam issue is that, there's always been scams. As soon as the internet came on, there were scams. As soon as, Grandma got her first email address, she was getting scams in her spam email address. And her that's why there's a spam folder, and everyone has a spam folder, and everyone has to delete it every now and again because it gets too jam-packed because there's so many scams out there in order to harvest people's information and money and all the rest. So, FTX didn't turn out so great. But there are other options. There are other things that are doing just fine. Bitcoin is doing just fine. Ethereum is doing just fine. Polygon's doing just fine. And but here's the thing: you can get involved. You can put your foot in the water, and there are ways of doing this that don't have to put you at so much risk. There's ways of doing this where you're not risking so much. And you know what? When it comes to these times, when it comes to economy and finance and survival and staying above the curve, ahead of the curve, really the first, what are we talking about? We're talking about value, and we're talking about life, we're talking about quality of life, we're talking about how to operate in this world without shriveling up and dying. Because as you look around, it's not like we live in some heavenly utopia where you can just walk outside and you've got your choice of whatever steak that you want to eat at your table for the night. You've got to go out there and you got to pay for it with a dollar bill. So what do? Obviously the first thing you do is you work for a living. Is doing whatever you can in order to maintain a rate of income that allows you to stay above the surface of the water. Because down here at slave wage poverty level, it's it's not the easiest thing in the world to just go out and get a job that's going to put you above the fray. Because what does it mean to be in the fray? You're in the fray because you're in the fray, and there's an awful lot of you there, and we're all down here, and it's freaking Soylent Green. So get a hustle, but then while you're at that, have a hustle, have a side hustle, have something you're doing that has the potential of increase. Is there a promise? No, but it's better than gambling, because with gambling you're not promised anything. There is no assurance anyway as to whether or not you're going to see a return on what you put in. Maybe eventually you'll see some winnings, but if you play the game often enough, like they say, the house always wins. And the house does always win. That's the way that you're operating your life. If you're investing your time and your energy and your money another way that puts it back where you were gambling on yourself, when you're gambling on your own success, then when you have succeeded, guess what? That puts you in a position that you don't... Success in that route puts you on a longer term contingency of success, where if you succeed once, you are increasing your chances of succeeding again. When you're gambling, you are taking the chance only on winning each time that you play. And there's no increase in probabilities the more you play the game. Probability is always the same, whatever the probability is. Whether it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, whatever. However, when you are investing in your life, in a business, in a passion, in a talent, in a ability, in a skill, in information, in personal relationships, in networking, an event, whatever it is, if you succeed at that one time, you're putting yourself on the map to succeed on that again. You're doubling your chances of success. That being the case, when it comes to you want to take I'm just giving you the advice from this is how I operate. This is the way I make my choices. I make my choices according to the notion that going forward, I have to take every opportunity that I possibly can in order to succeed. If I'm going to get a chance of success. And what success looks like to me is a lot of things, but paying for my family to have a lifestyle that is not chewing on my knuckles every day, wondering about where the next paycheck is going to come, and whether or not the system's going to collapse, whether or not I'm going to lose my job, whether or not people like me or not. That lifestyle where we live comfortably, where we each can have at least our own room, at least our own space, where I can at least have a full-size bed that my wife and I can sleep on comfortably, that is the goal. That is the dream. That is success. Where I can enjoy my relationships with the people that I love and raise my family in comfort and peace. Not that I'm entitled to that, not that I deserve that, but it's worth working towards. It's worth working for. It's worth putting my energy into. But that being the case, that means I've got to take every opportunity I possibly can in order to get there. And that would include, hedging my bets where the likelihood is that I'm going to be taken care of in that way. And Bitcoin has the potential, Bitcoin, crypto, that crypto market has the potential of giving you an opportunity to succeed, whereas in other ways you wouldn't, if you didn't if you didn't put it in some amount of risk there. But that's why I want to say there are avenues you can take that are virtually zero risk. They're not zero risk, 100%. Nothing's zero risk. I mean, this is the world. In this world. This world is the risk. Your life that you have is the risk. You risked coming here. You risked the infinites of eternal bliss to be emptied into the body that you now have from on high, and now you're here. And now what are you going to do with yourself? Well, you're here, and it's a risk. And so if taking risks is something you just don't do, well then, I don't know, you're in the wrong place. You need to find someplace else to be. Because we're people here that understand that our life is worth taking the risk for the sake of something that is eternally good, eternally beautiful, eternally powerful, capable of raising the dead. That's what we believe around here. That's what this guy does. This guy's got 2 thumbs, and he's awaiting the resurrection, as it says in the Creed, the Nicaean Creed. Let's look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now, because that's the kind of guy I am. That's who I am, and that's who I care about. So, American working man. See, Creed. What does it say? This is one I wish I had committed to memory. I really need to have it committed to memory. So the first Council of Nicaea says, we believe in one God, the Father of Almighty, creator of all things visible and invisible, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of God, begotten of the Father, the only begotten that is of the very essence of the Father, God of God, light of light, very God of very God, begotten, not made, consubstantial with the Father, by whom all things were made, both in heaven and on earth, who for us men and for our salvation came down and was incarnate and was made man. He suffered on the third day, and the third day he rose again, ascending into heaven. From thence he shall come to judge the quick and the dead, and in the Holy Ghost. But those who say there was a time when he was not, and he was not before he was made, and he was made out of nothing, or he is of another substance or essence, or the Son of God is created or changeable or alterable, they are condemned by the Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Okay, what's the second one say? Okay, well now I'm confused. I thought there you go. This is why I need to have this stuff committed to memory. I think it's maybe it's the Apostolic Creed. From thence he shall come again with glory to judge the quick and the dead. Huh. What's the Apostolic Creed? Apostolic Creed, go. Apostles' Creed. Says, will come in the communion of the saints, forgiveness of sins, and resurrection of the body. Oh, yeah, right here. It is the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, and in whom was conceived by of the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, who suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried, ascended into hell, rose again from the dead on the third day, ascended into heaven, and is seated at the right hand of God the Father Almighty, who will come again to judge the living and the dead. I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting. Amen. So that's my confession here. This is the work that I'm about. This is the work that good God Father is about. And so, that being the case, we take risks. This is what we, the saints, have been doing for time immemorial, because that time immemorial is all bound up in the ongoing presence of eternal life that can be yours today if you haven't received it. And you can live in that state of eternal bliss. Loving the one that made you, and being filled with his Spirit, who is eternally present. So yeah, that means, so this is where, this term economia comes in, because this is the nature of that word. Let's look that up. Now we're gonna look that up. What are we doing? Why do we operate this way? Why is money so important? There's people that are like kind of like anti-money. They think that money is somehow gonna, there's gonna come a day where nobody has any money, and that might be true in communist states, but not because money went anywhere, but it's because the state has complete control over all money. But the money's still there, It's just the state has control of it. Oikonomia. Am I saying it right? What do the ancient Greeks mean by oikonomia? So this is a peer-reviewed study. It looks like of some kind of journal. We can download full text PDF. It's complimentary. Awesome. It is a 16-page document. This feature addresses the history of economic terms and ideas. The hope is to deepen. So nearly every economist has at some point in the standard coursework been exposed to a brief explanation that the origin of the word economy can be traced back to the Greek word oikonomia, which in turn is composed of two words, oikos, which is usually translated as household, and nemein, which is best translated as management and dispensation. Thus, the cursory story usually goes the term oikonomia referred to household management. And while this was in some loose way linked to the idea of budgeting, it has little or no relevance to contemporary economics. This article introduces in more detail what the ancient Greek philosophers meant by oikonomia. It begins with a short history of the word. It then explores some of the key elements of oikonomia, which, while offering some comparisons and contrasts in the modern economic thought, for example, both ancient Greek oikonomia and contemporary economics study human behavior as a relationship between ends and means which have alternative uses. However, while both approaches hold that the rationality of any economic action is dependent on the frugal use of means, contemporary economics is largely neutral between ends, while in okay, however, while both approaches hold that the rationality of any economic action is dependent on the frugal use of means, contemporary economics is largely neutral between ends, while in ancient economic theory, an action is considered economically rational only when taken towards a praiseworthy end. Moreover, the ancient philosophers had a distinct view of what constituted such an end, specifically acting as a philosopher or as an active participant in the life of the city-state. In this way, the most striking difference between ancient oikonomia and contemporary economics is the relationship to ethics. Contemporary economics is fundamentally distinct from ethics, and its theory is in principle independent of any particular ethical position. In addition, contemporary economists typically hold that the natural situation for humans is to live in a world in which means are scarce. On the contrary, the ancient Greek writers on oikonomia believe that humans live in a world of natural abundance that is sufficient for what people need for subsistence. Exactly. From their perspective, it's so funny how, like, the more you learn about history and about how things were in the past, the less you really think, oh, we've gotten smarter. It's incredible how dumb we are now. It's incredible. It's incredible how much that we've convinced ourselves that we've got things, because we've got all this technology, we got wires, gizmos, gadgets, and things that plug in and screen and dance and whatever and light up. but how little the masses really know about how any of that stuff works, really. But just our like what we do with our brains day to day. I mean, WAP, come on, dude. We are dumber. We know how to do lots of stuff that is very dumb. From their perspective, the main task of economic rationality is to advance the good life as they understood it, which means support for philosophy, for involvement in public life, and also for not giving in to what they viewed as unnatural urge to pursue economic goals or luxuries for their own sake. The Oikonomia literature was rooted in the society of its time. It focused on well-to-do landowning male citizens, and it included an unthinking acceptance of slavery, as well as archaic and demeaning attitudes towards women. Okay, so this is kind of more of a secularist view. So let's look at Strong's Greek lexicon here and see what it says about this. The management of a household or household affairs, specifically the management, oversight, administration of others' property, the office of management. Okay, so that's pretty typical. Okay, here we go. Let's read this. Oikonomia, from Xenophon and Plato down, the management of a household or of household affairs, specifically the management, oversight, administration of others' property, the office of a manager or overseer, stewardship. Hence the word transferred by Paul in a theocratic sense to the office entrusted to him by God of proclaiming to men the blessings of the gospel. A place of eternal abundance. I can never run out of runway when it comes to proclaiming to men the blessings of the gospel. The office of administrator entrusted by God, universally administration dispensation, which in a theocratic sense is ascribed to God himself as providing for man's salvation. Okay? So, where does that put us? What's that for, like... So salvation is the currency of the universe. It is salvation. It is the demonstration of the cross. Romans 1:21. That God's eternal nature. Let's just go to it. I hate quoting because when I quote, I know I can get it messed up. Romans 1:21, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in the... Oh, wait. Right here, 1:20. For the visible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that were made, even as his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. The God's nature is embedded in all creation. We have everything we need for life and godliness. So it's worth taking the time to make everything go as far as you need it to go. So, as part of our management of our household, this fiat currency way of thinking is a state of mind. We have to see how the economy is a reflection of how we manage our household. And so that should tell us about the frame of mind that people are in when it comes to sharing money, spending money, when it comes to making money, when it comes to what they deem as valuable. the fact that we've gotten to this edge, you know, people want to blame the people that are at the top of the pyramid. Guess what? The top of the pyramid got to the top of the pyramid because we put them there. On a collective sense, on a historical collective sense, my forefathers put them there. Our forefathers put them there, and there's nobody that is not doesn't take part in the responsibility of what that system is and how it got there. We didn't do diligence to know who we were putting in charge. We didn't do diligence to say to ourselves, maybe this isn't the right thing to do. We didn't do diligence to say to ourselves, those people didn't, and the reason why we can't separate ourselves from them is because we can't say that we ourselves wouldn't have done the same thing if we were in their position. They were in their position. They had the information that they had. They had their frame of mind that they had. They had their values. They had their worldview. They had they had the information they had. They made a decision based on their value system at the time. For whatever ends, whatever that they intended to do with that, that is on them. All we know is right now that the fruit of that is not bearing out so good. We've had some times in history where, the wealth was epic. And it is epic. Still to this day, the wealth is epic. But our ignorant, our management of our wealth is our economy, and our management is got us headed straight off a cliff. And if you don't know that by now, then go somewhere else, because I don't have the time to tell you. But that's where we're at. We're facing a cliff. And that doesn't mean God, our Savior, doesn't have a plan to get us out of this. But that's going to take some humility. That's going to take some honesty. That's going to take you taking some time to say to yourself, maybe I should try something else. Maybe my faith in the almighty dollar bill was unwarranted and was not wisely invested. And so maybe I should consider other options, like the options that are available that are for free. So that means going to Brave.com, downloading and installing a Brave browser on your phone or on your computer, if you have a laptop, whatever. There. Isn't that nice? And start collecting BAT. BAT that's transferable, that's swappable to other coin that you might find useful for other things, like Backed.By. Like going to Backed.By and signing up and connecting a wallet, or just using your email. You don't even have to have a wallet. You can just collect on the email and immediately start patronizing the creators that are over there. Or if you're a creator and you want to set up a creator account, all you need is an email and just get over there and start creating. And you can tie it to your Patreon. It connects to your Patreon on the back end. In fact, let's do that. Let's go over there right now, and I'll show you the raw meat on this, and I'll disconnect my wallet so you can see what it looks like. Let's do this, since I didn't really get the best coverage of it last week when I tried to do this. Let's just go to Backed.By. We watched the whole website, so we can just go to the home. We went through the whole website, and I took down the live stream last week on this, and we got Dick on gay zombies, a new post from the Dick Show. And we can disconnect our wallet here. So okay, so this is what it looks like at first when you show up in the Backed.By here. Start from right here. We'll go to the main website here, just for good measure. You go to Backed.By. This is the website that shows up. And you can and in order to get into the platform, we launched the app. And if you don't have it connected, if you don't have a wallet connected, here you have your ability to connect a wallet, or you can connect email. Let's connect on email. I'm going to set up a new account just on the email, and let's see what we end up with here. Okay, I'm going to use a new Good Godfather email that is, yeah, we'll go with Good Godfather Music at gmail.com. That might already be connected. Confirm email. Okay, check my inbox. I'm going to check my inbox over here on my phone. Okay, log into Backed.By. Okay. Okay, right. Awesome. So I just logged in using my email address, not connecting my wallet. And let's see what we can do from right off the bat. First off, we can get into any one of the creators and we can subscribe right away. There I am, dude. Woo! Right down there. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows down is yours truly on Backed.By. And I'm going to clip this really quick because it's just so much fun. And what do we see here? I got 9 posts. I got $0 a month. We got lots of zeros. You know, there's just not enough of you going over there. But that's cool because I don't despise the day of small beginnings. And that's what we got here. We have a small beginning. Look at my little beginning. My little beginning here. Come on. Twitch is being ridiculous. Okay, here on Backed.By. On the main page, you've got all your creators that you can subscribe to with all their various tiers. What else can you do? You can go in there and you give, but you can also start a new project right away. Okay? Now this is the thing where, let's just say a new project, let's call it GGF Spazoid. Good Godfather. Totally spazzed, bro. And then you got your description. Are we totally spazzed or what here, boys? You can pick an image on the profile or on the cover. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't have any images for our stupid thing. We can create a membership tier. Spazoid private. Privates. That's if you do $1. The spazziest. Alright. Okay. These are the spazziest little grunts you ever did see. Save. One. I can do another tier. Let's do Spazoid. I don't know, Lieutenant or something. Lieutenant. Let it be a major. Major. $5. He's the spaz who thinks he's in charge, but he isn't really. Okay, you know, there you go. We got a couple tiers. Choose your contribution to Backed.By 5%. I want you to have 10% Backed by. You get 10%. This I'm gonna leave this here because this is too much fun. Transaction submitted. Finalized project setup. Your transaction has been successfully submitted to blockchain. It usually takes a couple of seconds to complete. Boom. We just set up a new thing that is ready to go on Backed.By. It's on the blockchain forever and ever. The GGF Spazoid Backed.By page. So I'm gonna share this right now because that is just hilarious to me, and I'm kind of a child, you know. Here we go. Yeah, all right, good. Just want to make sure you're not looking at everything I'm doing here. All right. So, if you're somebody who's a creative person, all you need is an email. That's all you need, and you can get in here. And if you're somebody who doesn't want to, and that's right, anybody who's contributing to the GGF Spazoid page, you know, you're given 10% to Backed.By in order to fuel and fund the Backed.By project. I believe in that. It's on the blockchain. That means it's uncensorable, and that to me is invaluable. Because in this on this channel, on the Good Godfather channel, we believe in eternity, having an eternal impact, and we believe that the words that you use, that you say with your mouth, are having a physical is what that is. Oh, dude, you didn't even see that. I wasn't even streaming the screen. It was just me on the count on the. Okay, sometimes. God. All right. I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna do it again. Disconnect. All right. We're gonna do it again. So, there's the new GGF Spazoid account. Now that we have you on the screen, let me show you again. Here, let's go through. We gotta go through the process. We didn't do it right. I didn't do it right. Let's do it right. Backed.By. If you go to Backed.By, it takes you to this website here, and you can click Launch the app. And here are all of the accounts that we can subscribe to. And there's Good Godfather right there. Let's see if our new page just showed up on here somewhere along the way. No, it didn't. Oh well. Well, that being the case, we got all these great content creators. We're looking for more. But here you can connect your email. Click on connect your email. All you got to do is put in a random email. This time I'm going to put in my other Good Godfather email. goodgodfather@hotmail.com. Let's do that. It's going to ask you to click the link in your email, which I'm going to do right now. Oh, I can do it right here. All right, now I'm logged in, accepted sign in, and I'm signed in. And now that I'm in, I can go in and check out any of these projects that I like. I can back them and support them, and I can pay US dollars. And the way this works is, you know, when you join, you gotta have this amount of USDT in your wallet, because each time you sign up for a new account, you actually have this handy dandy little wallet here, right? But see, the reason why you have to have another wallet in order to do this, if you're gonna be a contributor, is because you need this stuff right here, USDC and Matic, in order to be a in order to contribute to these projects. And the way you do that is through Coinbase, and you can set up an account over at Coinbase. Load yourself up with USDC, then you can be a contributor. Because this isn't on an exchange. You can't go and just buy crypto from this wallet. You got a wallet here, but in order to get that wallet to load that wallet up, you have to get that on like an exchange somewhere. But doesn't take anything to set up a new project, so I just found out. So we'll call this one GGF Angels. This is where the good Godfather angels live. We doing angel shit, bruh. Okay? You could upload profile photos on the cover, and got tier 1. We have the Archons. 1. We're the closest to the good Godfather. Save. Now we gotta set up another tier. We gotta have the Cherubim. Whatever, you know. And we look like funky animals, bro. Okay? And this is where, you know, you would list out kind of like whatever content it is that you're getting to your members, you know, just if you're familiar with like the Patreon. It is the Patreon thing. So then you can do, and then the last one here I'll do is the elders. We're old as fuck, bro. Okay, next. Also, so I got two new Backed.By pages here now. Generating content. Transaction submitted. Finalized project setup. Your transaction has been Your transaction has successfully completed. Click here to view the transaction on the blockchain explorer, or close this message and continue on Backed.By. We can go and check that out, but I want to click on this link just to take a look. And here it is, Polygon scan. This is the blockchain. Block transaction hash. There's the hash. There's timestamp. From, to, value 0.5 Matic. That's 6 cents. So a half a Matic is worth 6 cents. So I mean that's technically like a half Matic is worth more than a half a penny. Kind of. Is that how that works? I don't know. Transaction fee is 13 cents. Look at all this information. There's all kinds of information here. Alright, but there's no personal information. They don't know who you are from Tom. Alright? Kaboom. GGF. Angels. So now I've got to share this one now so that I can mock myself. All right. So if you're not aware, you got to get over there on Twitter, on all the social medias, and get yourself signed up on Truth Social, on Gab, on Minds. But so this is where you can put your crypto, but it's also a place that if you're somebody who's creative, you have a chance, and you're hoping to score some bucks from your awesome content that you have to share on the internet. This is a way to get it from people that want to keep their currency on the blockchain, and you can get subscribers on the blockchain if you're somebody that's you are all about the blockchain currencies, and you're all about that Web3 life. Welcome to the future of the interwebs, yo. Welcome to the future. This is what it looks like. Fully confident in that. And here we have our tiers. I'm sure I should probably spend some time developing what I have on here a little better. But for now, if you didn't know already, I've got this song that I'm mixing right now. And, here's the thing that's really important. So what I've just posted on here within the last week since last time I was live are the vocal stems that I worked on after that live. And so all of the stuff that I'm going to be doing studio wise is kind of like behind the curtain. You're going to find that content over at Backed.By. So that's a good way to kind of direct your crypto. But back to the way that we are trying to harvest that cash in on the potential there is for security there. That's really what we're looking at. I'm not going to be somebody that says, hey, put it all in there, man. Buy yourself a couple bucks here and there. Buy yourself a couple bucks of Bitcoin here and there. You got some instant money. If you're somebody, you're saying to yourself, oh man, I'm going to go down to the club, I'm going to spend money on a bunch of drinks and get drunk, and then my life's going to be all, screwed up for like a little while because I made some mistakes and said some stuff that I shouldn't have said. Save yourself the heartache, save yourself the pain, put your money into a choice that you're making that is for the better, that is for preserving a more abundant life than that. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. No judgment here. If somebody likes to drink, good on you. Nothing but love, bro. Or sis, whoever you are. But I really pride myself here about being about that mission, about being the mission that is the, maybe this is something better you can do with your time. Maybe this is something that doesn't have that is pushing things forward towards things being a little bit better. They don't have to be perfect. I think they're perfect just the way they are, in the sense of the way that they work, the way that it works. That there's freedom, that you can, there are risks that you can make, so you can learn things. The way the whole system works is brilliant. The way that our consciousness interfaces with it, and how we can see how there is such a thing as a blessing that comes from beyond the veil of the visible, from the invisible. So that's why I just think that there's a lot to gain from having our feet in the crypto water, and it gives me a chance myself to at least have that bit kind of sorted out. Like, you know, at least I'm doing this. I'm not doing nothing. That's the point. I'm not doing nothing. I'm doing something. I'm doing what I can. You should do what you can too. Whatever you can. Not everybody can do everything. Some people can do more than others. This is what I can do. So I'm doing it. So that's why I want to just break down the three main ones you can do in order to. So this is a way. This is both a good place to spend your crypto in the form of Matic and/or Polygon. Matic, which is on the Polygon network. Then there is. I want to take a look at Gumroad here really quick. Just because I haven't really spent much time to consider. Oh. I think it's all oh. I must have used a different email address to start up. I think this is all fiat currency on this one. So. But, okay, Brave. Use Brave browser. It collects BAT. You can transfer that. The other one is Mines. And, you know, free speech environment. You're gonna see things that you don't like over there, okay? You're gonna see some things that are for grown-ups, okay? They're for grown-ups. If you're not a grown-up, you probably shouldn't be on the internet. But you can see the Minds link, I think is in the description of this video here. Let's take a look. No, it's not. So I'm gonna drop it. Drop it in here. Oh, hey, Tommy Tommy boy, what up, Tommy? What, aren't you at school, bro? Shouldn't you be at school? Okay, gonna go back to Odysee here. Okay. So that should be in the chats. I'm gonna put that on. Make sure to save that as something that's always gonna go in the description on my videos here, so that everybody knows. Just press. I don't know what I pressed. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Let's do support yourself on the blockchain. Mines. And Odysee. Odysseus. Invites. Okay. Oh boy. All right, with that, I have to take a break. the value of setting the cultural stage for people to engage with information, engage with a certain perspective, engage with a certain worldview in order to establish what is the most healthy trajectory.
Are you
What
beloved?
is the thing that
Go to
produces life that
goodgodfather.com.
overcomes and
Sign up on the email
overwhelms
list.
death.
I renounce Satan and his works and his pomps and his service and his angels and his inventions and all things that belong to him or that are subject to him. I renounce Satan and his works and his pomps and his service and his angels and his inventions and all things that belong to him or that are subject to him. I renounce Satan and his works and his pomps and his service and his angels and his inventions and all things that belong to him or that are subject to him. Confusing order with destiny, discouraging healthy thinking, while the mind is at ease, the soul is distressed. The mother sets her hand before the soul.
Okay. It was a nice little break. It was pretty efficient. Top of the 2 o'clock hour. I've said that I would do this until 3 o'clock, and I think that we'll be able to make it here in this last hour. And I feel like maybe what I should do is go through the process of setting up all these accounts. Let's just go down, like, we'll just keep the whole theme of, I like the GGF. Well, let's do GGF Angels, because it's kind of, it's nice and it's sort of, what would you say, neutral, as opposed to Spazoid. The Spaz is. So let's use the link. This one. Kaboom. You're already claimed your referrer. Let's sign out. And we'll go like this. So we'll do that again. So here we are on Odysee, and we can sign up today. We just need an email address, a password. You can say sync to my YouTube. I've actually got my email address already set up on this. Well, hold on. Let's do this one. Let's see if that works. 'Cause I don't think I used that one. I don't have a YouTube channel to sync to. Confirm your account. Let's see what pops up. Come on, Hotmail. There you are. Okay, it says only click this link if you requested it yourself. Yeah, okay. Clicking on it. And I'm not a robot. Bob's your uncle. There we are. So now we can follow all these people. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow every single one of these people. Follow them. Follow them. You're my new best friend in the whole world. Skadoosh, skadoosh, skadoosh. I don't know any of these people. I'm going to follow every single one though. 15, 16, 17, 18. Internet historian. Ha ha ha. That's got that guy's meme face. That's pretty good. Just want to make sure you're seeing what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, good. Following, 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 following. There's a lot of people to follow here. My point, my question. Oh, there's Veritasium. If you're a science geek like I am, they're a great. Let's continue. So in order to earn, there we are. So this kind of lays it out for us. In order to earn, we have to verify a credit card or verify via chat by joining the Odysee Rewards Discord. Or you can use a phone number. If you give them a phone number, you can verify via text. Or we can just continue without verifying. I'm going to continue without verifying. You can verify that if you are interested in so doing that. And that's finish verification if I want to start earning right now. But that's not going to stop me from watching videos. I can watch videos right now. I can watch this one. Here's my recent Good Godfather ASMR video. I'm totally watching it right now because it's a good review. But if I go to the channel and I click on this one, for instance, that costs money, I've got to pay 5 of their library coins, their library tokens, if I want to watch that one. So there's ones that are behind the paywall. You missed out on the weekly view reward. You're right, I did miss out, but that's because I wanted to. Okay, so now we're going to use the. So let's do the same thing over there at Mines. I'm gonna sign out of it. I'm gonna come over here to the chat. I'm gonna grab the Mines link. Kaboom. That's in your chat right now. Paste. Actually, no, I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna drop it in here. Okay. And you will notice you're ready to join the Mines Revolution. So we're gonna, okay. Good Godfather, Angels, and that's Good Godfather at Hotmail, and I'm gonna put in my password. Don't ever share your password with anybody, you know? What are you, stupid? Don't do it! And here we are. Now we have a Mines account. We could tell them what we like. We like music. We like art. We like crypto. We like nature. We like outdoors. We like journalism. We like news. We like fashion. We like Mines. We like blockchain. Comedy. Videos. Sure. Film. Blog. Food. Spirituality. Safe. Okay. So before getting down to business on Mines, can we please verify your email address? So now I gotta come down here and verify my email address. So I just got a notification for it. Verify. And now let me read the email address I just got. This is what you'll get to. There we go. This is ridiculous. This email has a giant image that makes it impossible for me to read the actual email. Silly. There we go. It says, thanks for joining Minds. There are a few things you can do to establish yourself on Minds to discover, freely earn crypto, and elevate discourse with us. Discover channels to subscribe to. Minds is better with more connections. Discover interesting people and subscribe to their posts to keep your newsfeed alive. Follow the conversation. Check out trending topics to see what the community is talking about. Make your first post. Introduce yourself with a post and let the community know what brought you to Minds. Use the hashtag new friend to meet people, other newbies in our community welcome party. Okay, so I've never done that. Download the app and then welcome aboard. Okay, but here's the thing. So if you want to you have to complete all these things to earn the tokens. Let's see if you can see that over there. No, you can't. So let's see. Bring this here. You'll have to verify an email address. You got to select the tags. You got to set up a channel, verify uniqueness, and create a post. Once you do that, all those things, you'll be able to start earning tokens. Okay? So those are the three ways to, those are the three free market, be a free person. 3 free market avenues in order to start earning crypto immediately, to then you can use to put into your Backed.By accounts if you are a creator and want to be posting over there, because in order to post over on Backed.By you're gonna need the crypto in order to do it. Those are 3 big ones: Brave, Minds, Odysee. Then you can go over to Backed.By, get set up on Backed.By, and that will be your introduction into the world of crypto, and it didn't cost you much. Just a little bit of time. I didn't pay anything. You didn't see me pay anything. In order to verify this, I mean, like, I could go through the process of verifying those things, but I don't have to know that it's not going to cost you anything to do all those things. Okay? So crypto doesn't have to be a world that you're so afraid of, and it's like, oh, it's just nothing but a bunch of scams. It's not a scam. It's just a world. This is the creator world that we're in now. This is the creator economy that we are in. Like, here's the thing with this, like, AI business and technology and the future and where we are and regulation and controls and things like that. The government wants you to think that government control is the only way forward. The state is the only thing that can save you from all the problems that there are in this world of greed and selfishness and abundance of wealth and licentiousness. That only the state can save you from that. And I'm here to tell you that the state is the problem, not the answer. That the answer is actually in keeping yourself free. And this is the important thing. You could bring in all the regulations in the world and you will not be any more free. In fact, you will be less free by the end of all that. So be more free, and then find out that at the end of the day, this comes down to your mind. And so I think it's appropriate that Minds is one of the websites as part of this. Is your mind capable of convincing your neighbor to change their mind? Because if the problem is their state of mind that leads them to take certain actions that then cost you your liberty, what are you going to do to convince them that that is not the way to do things? It's not enough to go in and browbeat people and to tell them that, like, oh, this is wrong, it's just wrong, it's always been wrong, you need to stop doing that because it's wrong. That's not enough to to change anybody's mind. It's not enough to go in there with brute force. All you're going to end up doing is getting yourself in a really tough jam. So if the problem is people who are evil liars, if people are being evil because they're evil, then it is up to you to convince them that their evil is a problem and is in fact evil, and why evil is evil. It's not enough to tell a person, oh, this is evil. You should know it's evil. You know it's evil. No, they don't know it's evil. You know why? Because they spend an entire lifetime convincing themselves of, like, it doesn't matter how evil it is. Evil, good, none of it matters. None of it means anything. At the end of the day, it all comes out in the wash anyway, so might as well just do whatever. That's you're preaching at them to tell them, oh, what you're doing is evil, what you're doing is evil, is not ever going to be enough in order to convince them to change their mind from being an evil person committing acts of evil to being a repentant person that understands that their evil is that they ultimately commit against themselves. And that's the really important message of the New Testament gospel, that in crucifying me, the anointed of Israel, you are crucifying yourself. You are putting yourself up there on that cross, not me. I'm innocent. I'm just here loving you. That's all I'm here to do. I'm here to heal you. I'm here to give you good news. I'm here to tell you that I forgive you, no matter what you did. But at the end of the day, this game of power and control and a word that keeps entering my mind that I want to say that's probably not even a word is lasciviousness. Is that even a word? Licentiousness. Yeah. At the end of the day, that game is not going to get you anywhere. At the end of the day, you are cutting your own nose off to spite your face. But it's not just your own nose. It's my nose too. It's your neighbor's nose too. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, you hurt other people. And you know what? It's easier to ignore how you're hurting other people. But why are you doing that? You're probably doing that to benefit yourself. But if yourself isn't truly benefited... Are
you done?
Well, I can be.
Okay. I'm gonna go get the salads out of the car.
I'm sorry? Get the stuff out of the car?
Yeah, there's salads there.
Yeah.